What's going on, guys? Welcome back. Welcome back. Another day of coding. Free code camp again. Let me do this. I know I do want to get up to this build Quincy's jobs tips, and then hopefully we can get down to this build a cat blog. And then from there we'll go ahead and we'll stop here at the cat blog. Oh wait, no, we'll stop. We'll stop right before that. We'll do this after the Quincy's thing. We'll go ahead and do this. The working with semantic elements. So let's get into it, guys. HTML elements used to distinguish quoted text from the surrounding content. This gives the quoted text a format that is easy to identify. You should block quotation elements for representing a section quoted from another source. It's mainly used for extended quotations if the source of the quotations has an address. You can cite with the cite attribute. The value of this attribute should be valid URL. This is an example of quote within a block quotation element. Quote. There's like a special way to put quotes. I forgot how. Oh, block quote. It's telling you right there. Okay. This element is a cite attribute with the value of the cite attribute as the URL of the source. While this attribute doesn't change the presentation of the block quote, it's very useful for giving screen readers and search engines more information about the quote. In the browser, you'll see that the text is slightly indented. Slightly. Don't see it. Or wait, right here. Cool. All the paragraphs are contained within the same block quotation element, so they are part of the same quotation. You can see that the elements and cite attributes with the URL of the source in the browser. You'll see that 4 paragraphs are aligned relative to each other, but are indented relative to the container. So far, I've been using the cite attribute, the source of quotation, but the attribute doesn't really show the source to the user. It only works behind the scenes. That's true. Okay. Oh, okay. So it looks italicized, essentially. Okay. Title of this book: Learn how to code to get a developer job. Okay. Another source. Shit. Q. What is the proper way to cite an element in HTML? To display inline quotations. Which HTML attribute is used to specify the source of quotations in a block or inline block? Cite. What? Block quote? Oh. There we go. How do you display abbreviations in HTML? An abbreviation is a shortened form of a word phrase. For example, doctor, followed by a period, is an abbreviated word of the doctor. Okay. There are 2 common forms of abbreviations of acronyms and initialisms. I didn't know those were words. Acronym is a word. GUI is an example of an acronym. It stands for a graphical user interface. By taking the first letters of each word you get the acronym GUI. And I believe there is, I think it's Criminal Minds, where this guy calls it GUI. I've always said it from that point on. And initialism is a form from the initial letters of a phrase, with each letter representing the first word of that phrase. For example, HTML is an initialism for hypertext markup language and is pronounced by spelling out HTML. Okay. So abbreviation. Here's an example where you can see the sentence HTML is the foundation of the web. I don't see the specific use case for it though. The title attribute is optional, but if you decide to include it, it must be human relatable description in the abbreviation, acronym, or italicism. Let's take the example as before, but the title attribute will be hypertext markup language, the expanded form of initialism. ABBR, what is the purpose? To indicate what attribute is used best within HBBR title. Okay. The contact address element is used to represent contact information for a section of a web page. The address element is versatile and can be used for business pages, author pages, personal sites, and more. When it comes to building out your website's contact sections, you can use the semantic address element over a generic element like a div. Here's an example of using the address element for a company contact page. In this example, there is a company name, physical address, phone, and email. For the physical address, the break element is used to show the division between the street name, a city, and country. Where is that? Oh, there we go. For the phone number, we have an anchor element href set to the phone numbers. The tel plus value inside the href attribute creates a clickable link to initiate a phone call on certain devices that support that. Oh, that's new. One of the downsides of using mail to, often perceived, is as spam. Unfortunately, a lot of spammers will use this option to send emails to users. So just keep that in mind when you're using it. So the purpose of the address element is to click on the address. Yeah. Generic element. Huh. Contact information. The mail to is for email. And what is the downside? It can be used for spammers. Cool. The time element is used to represent a specific moment in time. Here's an example using the time element to represent 24 hours or 8 p.m. in the evening. Okay. I don't understand the use case of this either. The value for date time attribute must be valid year, month, valid time, local date, global date, or valid duration string. Here's an example using the time element to represent a particular date. June 15th. It doesn't mention the year though, or the time. Okay. So what does the date attribute and the time element help with? I mean, the date just tells you current date and time. What is the correct format in ISO? First part of the year, month and day. First part of the year? What the hell does that mean? First part of the value is the year. I'm sorry. First year, month, and date. Okay. Why does the capital T in the ISO time value represent time? Cool. Let's go ahead and build Quincy's page tips. Oh, dude. Okay. It's a lot going on here. So we're going to create the H1 here. Let's do this. H1. Congratulations, the code passes. Let me move my head, because this is different from previous iterations that we've done. Okay. Now create a paragraph element below the H1. Okay. P. And then. Okay. P. Okay. Code passes. Cool. Next, we're gonna do the Q element inside the P. So wrap the paragraph. Inside the paragraph, you can become a developer. Yeah. Okay. Q. Bam. Perfect. And then we are going to cite. Cite equals. Take this string, place it in there. What's going on here? There we go. Add a space. Below the paragraph element, add a main and nest 3 sections in there. Okay. Well, I wonder. I forgot what the shorthand is for section. I mean for this, but I mean. Paste. Right. Cool. All right, inside the first section, add an H2 element, envisioning success. All right. Y2C that. H2, envisioning success. H2. Bam. Beautiful. All right. Below H2, you'll add another quote by Quincy. This time the quote won't be part of the larger paragraph. Instead, the whole paragraph will be a quote. Distinguish it by using a block quote. Block quote block quote. All right, bam. Okay. Now to the first section. Perfect. Cool. And then now we can add site to this. Copy. Okay. Cool. All right. Now, below the block element, you can add a paragraph element with a text. I am a little confused. Below the block quotation, add a okay. Oops. P. Cool. All right. Pretty simple so far. I mean, so far you've been using site attribute to add the source of the quotation, but the attribute doesn't really show the source of the user. You want to attribute source visibly. You can add a citation element, cite outside the block quotation element. Inside the P element, below the wrap, learn, okay, in the site element. Does this close? I would think so. All right. Simple stuff. Inside the second section now, let's separate these two. Sort of hard to read. H2 with importance of networking. Yes. Importance of networking. 2. Below this heading, add sorry, I didn't read far enough. Block quote. Okay, so we added the site. What else? Do we need anything else? Oh, I need the closing bracket for this. Quote. All right. Step 12. In the second section, inside the existing quotations element, add 4 P elements. Oh, okay. All right. We'll just do this. P. All right. Let's go ahead and copy that. Do it 4 times. 1, 2, 4. All right. And then so all we have to do now is just copy and paste. It's okay. All right. Go to tech meetups and conferences. Cool. All right. In the third section, in the third and the last section, you're going to create the HTML structure you did in the preceding section. H2, importance of building a relationship, a reputation. H2. All right. And then we're going to do, I would assume another block. Yeah. Block quote. Quote. Bam. Let's copy this. Site equals. Do that. All right. And we're spacing that out because we are going to be doing 3 paragraphs in here. So let's do that. Bam. 3. And then we're just going to copy and paste these. Copy. All right. Cool. Perfect. All right. So I think with that, I think we're just going to cut it for the day. Simple, but I feel like I'm starting to build on these foundations, and it's starting to come back to me. So I think my speed is starting to pick up again with how to structure at least the most basic stuff. I'm not saying I know how to do for loops and while loops and if else statements. I don't remember any of those yet. But yeah, guys, you guys have liked this kind of stuff, feel free to like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.